The main thing that I noticed with working with professionals in their own industry, they've learned to use bigger terms and make the conversation sound more complicated than it needs to be, which is not what works on TikTok. People want to be spoken to in layman's terms, like you're just sitting down and having a regular conversation with the person on the other end of the phone. So if you're bringing in these larger terminology and making everything seem a lot more complicated to the everyday person than it needs to be, then you're not going to perform as well.
Welcome to the Videocraft show presented by Husky. I am Jon Santiago, and every other week I interview content creators about their stories, strategies, and experiences of building an online audience through video. Now, when it comes to video these days, short form video is all the rage, but most businesses and content creators don't necessarily know how to leverage it. Enter Ray of Ray Motion Films. Now, Ray Motion Films is a full-service digital marketing company in New Jersey, and Ray has actually carved out a niche for himself in his local area, working mostly with companies providing financial services. He's accomplished this by focusing on helping small business owners create, quote, beautiful, unique, and thought-provoking projects. Now, one of Ray's greatest success stories to date has been his work with Badran Tax Accounting, an accounting firm out of New Brunswick, New Jersey. And with Ray's guidance, Badran has managed to grow an audience of close to 100,000 followers on TikTok, all around the concepts of tax, accounting, and money. Now, in this episode of the Videocraft show presented by Husky, I chat with Ray about a variety of subjects, including the origins of his interest in entrepreneurship, how he thinks about pricing his services, his entire content creation process for making short-form content with Badran, and so much more. You don't want to miss this episode. So, before we kick it to the episode, I want to remind all of you, if you haven't already, if you are enjoying the show, make sure to leave a review for us on Apple Podcasts or wherever it is that you get your podcasts. We are looking at them. We are paying attention. We want to hear from you in terms of how we can improve the show, or if you just like the show in general. We obviously like to hear from you. So make sure to visit Apple Podcasts to do just that. Now let's go ahead and toss it to my conversation with Ray of Ray Motion Films. Ray from Ray Motion Films, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Videocraft show presented by Husky. Man, it is a pleasure to have you on.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, I know we've talked about this. I think the first time I met you, I already had probably pitched you on the idea of coming.
Yeah, I think during the first meeting itself, yeah.
Yeah, so for context, Ray was a client of ours here at Husky, and we're going to talk a little bit about his experiences as well with working with us. But I found him so interesting because he came in wanting us to help with short form content, specifically for a client of his who is, you wouldn't expect to be on TikTok. And he's had such tremendous success with growing this business's TikTok following. And I'm like, man, I got to get him on because he's probably got some really great insights into how to leverage TikTok for businesses, especially small local businesses, which I think is who you primarily work with. So, and we just hit it off too, man. Like, I think that you and I kind of think along the same lines. I got a good vibe from you. I got the sense that you got a good vibe from me. So I'm like, we gotta make this happen at some point and have you on as a guest.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. I don't know. We really started bouncing back and forth ideas and just conversations about the industry, and I think we definitely flow really well. Let me know if you need me as a co-host on another podcast.
Well, no, that might be a possibility at some point. I'm always open to having different experiments run on this show.
You have to. You got to try new things, especially with digital marketing and everything. You got to try new things.
Exactly. And you seem to be somebody who is well equipped and open-minded to trying those things, which is very important, I think, if you are in marketing or if you are a content creator, because things are always constantly changing so quickly.
Yes. Yeah, new trends. People are setting new trends. So you either are the trendsetter. You're always trying to innovate, try new things, just be more creative in the sense of trying to bring something new to the table that hasn't been brought done before.
Yeah. No, and you know what I wonder as you bring that up, is that something that has always been a part of you in terms of just this willingness to be creative and a willingness to try things regardless of whether the outcome is positive or negative?
I would definitely say so. 100%. With me, I tend to get, I guess, bored pretty quickly, which is why when I figured that, this whole digital marketing space is going in the direction of fast form, short clip media, because everyone's attention span is slowly decreasing, and I guess so is mine. But yeah, so I just get bored with things, like even with like common day things like in my apartment, my wife might come home and she'll be like, "You moved the couch. What happened?" I was like, "We need to innovate. We need
So
to
you're
try new
messing
things."
around with feng shui in your apartment too.
Yeah,
This is
down
not
to
just
that T.
limited. It's
Yeah.
not just limited to you tinkering around with video and
Exactly.
content creation.
Exactly. No, but then even in the macro, like when it comes to my clients, I'm always pushing them to try new things, push the boundaries, like even in their own industry. Like for example, with my tax and accounting client at Badran Tax, they don't do a lot of, how can we say, common day trends. And, they really try to stay in their professional lane, but really pulling him out of there and trying to innovate and trying to have him out of his comfort zone. Cause that's where you'll find true innovation and, creativity in order to really change the industry and really help him stand out in his own industry and compared to his competitors and everyone else who's on social media and the finance industry. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of that when it comes to working with other clients, and in my daily life. Yeah.
So where did that come from for you? Were you influenced by somebody in particular in your life? Does that come from your parents or a friend or?
I would say
somebody
probably
close
my
to you?
mother. I would say probably, yeah, probably like her, because she's kind of the same. Like she doesn't like staying in one place, doing the same thing over and over again. Routine is good. Of course, routine is amazing, but you have to play around with those little things within your routine and see what might work better. You never know if you never try it. So I always saw her innovating and like, doing like DIY stuff around the house for no reason. Same thing, like moving the couch for no reason. Well, she has her own reasons, of course, in her own head, but to the outside perspective may not seem like, why are you doing that? But it usually always tends to turn out being something much better than it was before. And if it doesn't, just go right back to how it was. But we never know unless we keep trying new things.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's good. I mean, and you're a young guy too. And so to have that mentality, at your age where you're at, I was thinking about this in preparation for this conversation. I'm like, I am very interested to see where this guy is going to be in like 10 years and 15 years or even 20 years, because you already have this mentality that a lot of people have a hard time embracing, especially when it comes to content creation, because you're always having to pull yourself out of your comfort zone as a creator, or even in business in general. As an entrepreneur, you're doing things that you don't necessarily know the answers to, and you're kind of having to like figure it out as you go. And that's like a special kind of personality.
For sure. I feel like if you can be okay with failing, trying new things in whatever industry, your personal life, your business life, creative endeavors, at some point, it truly doesn't matter how many times you fail. Because you know what? Even if this fails, I'm going to do the same thing again. Like I'm going to try innovating on the next thing. And if that fails, I'm going to do it again, regardless if it's a success or not. So I guess when you have your mindset on something, do it a certain amount of times, you fail whatever amount of times, it really doesn't matter. You're bound to succeed, because every time you fail, you learn from something, you pick up new skills, you learn from bad habits, and you just overall become a better person. That's really the whole evolution of becoming a better you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in terms of running your company and running your business, as I mentioned, again, I'm alluding to the fact that you are a young guy. You've gone out and done this. I mean, I'm sure you have many peers your age who are like, let me just get a standard day job that's consistent, that's steady. but you're going this entrepreneurial path where there's a lot of uncertainty involved. Is this something that from a young age you were always like, I'm going to be my own boss. I'm not going to work for somebody else?
Yes, actually, it was always really appealing to me, and a 9 to 5 really was not as appealing to me from a very young age too. But coming from being a first generation Indian American here, my parents' ideologies and what they have made, which direction they have maybe wanted me to go, is the only thing that would have put any sort of doubt in my mind. Other than that, if it's just me in my own head, I knew I did not want to work a 9 to 5. And if I was going to work a 9 to 5, I would have had a lot of like criteria that like it would have had to be the perfect job for me, in the sense where, where I get to choose my own hours, high pay, I really get to pursue different creative endeavors. And I have like a creative flow that's like respected in the workplace. But that's a lot of criteria to match in like a 9 to 5 job. So the chances are really slim. So my best case scenario was create a company around my skill set, around what I can do very easily, things that come to me naturally in a creative sense, and just figure out how I can make money from it really, and really help people who can utilize it for their business and also make more money.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I want to know too about just the inspiration for going into content and to video. I mean, what are your earliest memories of going into content creation and learning this whole creative process?
It would really be back to the days where I would come back from middle school, high school, back home, plop into my bed and just start watching like Smosh or like Jesse Wellens on YouTube, Casey Neistat, all these guys, who really paved their own path in the same way when the industry was not what it is. And they were working day jobs and they decided, let me pick up a camera and start this new lifestyle, start uploading. And I caught them at that point in time where like they were working day jobs. They were doing YouTube as a hobby, but then it slowly trickled, actually very quickly trickled into becoming an entire career for them. And this is when no one's talking about like really like the creatives on YouTube making an actual career for themselves. So seeing that it was possible back then when it was way more unsure of where the industry was going than it is now. Like now we all know you jump on TikTok, if you have a good niche and you're making good content, you can turn that into a career. It's guaranteed. We all know that. We've seen millions of people do it ever since TikTok came out. But back then on YouTube, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that at all. So I feel now like there's actually less risk involved with just jumping into this industry than it was compared to before. So seeing them go through that and really evolve into the creators that they are today, that was a big inspiration. I really knew that I could do the same thing just because of the fact that it really comes down to being an individual, carrying a camera and filming what you want to film, and then just creating the video in a way where people want to watch it. Then everything else just follows through from there, really.
Now, were you making like your own personal movies and stuff too? Like when you were in high school, dabbling with that? Were you even posting stuff to YouTube or sharing stuff, or just kind of creating things for yourself at that time?
So I would dabble here and there. I'd make like some funny videos with my friends, and just because I was just always very interested in video creation, mainly because of those YouTubers who I used to watch. So I really wanted to see like, is it really that hard? Could I do it? And when I figured how simple it is to really get the shot, edit it, and then have a finished product. And every time I did it, it was a decent video, like this is my first time trying it. Oh, wow, this is a decent video. And so it's like, what if I learn a couple more skills? What if I pick up a couple more methods of how to edit properly, how to film better, how to lighting, camera, audio, all this stuff. And then it slowly becomes a much better video than what you first started with. As long as you really want to make a video, I don't see how you can make a bad video, which is how it was for me. So I was like, it's a no-brainer.
So what did the skill development look like as well? Were you were watching those YouTubers? I imagine you're looking at like Casey Neistat's aesthetic. You're looking at Jesse Wellens. By the way, Jesse is like one of the OG guys that I used to watch back in the day when he was with his, his ex-girlfriend, good friend today, Gina. They're in your area. They're not that far from you, actually, right? Up in the like the Northeast area, Jersey area.
I think Gina lives here in New York. I'm pretty sure Jesse's still living in LA.
Yes.
But yeah, it's funny you mentioned his aesthetic, with the camera, the outfits, and like the gear and the bike. I actually bought a Super 73 because of him. One of those electric bikes. Yeah. I fell off of it. Yeah. This is why I have this on.
Oh my god.
But man, yeah, I have that sitting in my living room, and like the whole aesthetic, it just feels like I'm like really creating the life that I wanted and I first saw as a child like years ago, so it's all really coming together, and it feels really good.
Yeah, no, that's definitely cool. But, again, just watching those guys, seeing their aesthetic, but then to develop that, were you looking at tutorials, or were you just tinkering, just kind of like going on Final Cut or even iMovie or Adobe Premiere, if you could, procure a copy of it, and just kind of trying to play around with stuff, or again, looking at stuff online, watching tutorials and then learning specific tactics around how to edit your videos to look in that way?
So I wouldn't say I went into I didn't, I started making videos for fun. I never uploaded any. I kind of forgot about it. I had to concentrate on school because of, some external pressures. So I kind of forgot about it for a little bit. And as I was nearing the end of college, which I actually just finished yesterday, I'm officially a college graduate.
What you finish in, man?
Business administration with a concentration on human resources.
Incredible.
Yeah. So I have that underneath my belt. But so I had to forget about all that stuff for a little bit. And it wasn't like, I am going to do this. It was still like, teenage mindsets, always swaying left to right. Didn't really choose a path. But as I was nearing the end of my college education, and my mom starting to be like, hey, you should probably start applying for jobs, find an internship, this and that. I remember I was walking around New Brunswick actually with a bunch of resumes in my hand. I was just going to go office to office, old school. And as I was doing that, I went to like the first office. I did a quick interview, and then I went to the second one. And as I was walking into the second one, I was having trouble finding the office room that I was looking for, like to go do the interview. And I don't know, something just clicked there. And I just went back down the elevator, went right back to my car. I was like, I'm not doing this. I don't know why, but I was like, I'm not doing this. I don't think this is it for me. And then from there, the pandemic hit. And then I did get laid off of my job where I was working at a Turkish restaurant as a manager. And then, the pressure really, really hit. I was like, I need to figure out something now. And if I'm going to be picky about my career, then I need to start, figuring something out. So my mind instantly went towards, okay, what am I good at? I'm a creative individual, right? I actually didn't jump right back into video. I started doing paintings for a little bit. So I started doing like Islamic calligraphy paintings because there's a market for it here in the Muslim community. So I started doing some paintings. They didn't sell that well. I didn't do as much marketing as I really wanted to for it. I sold a couple paintings here and there, had a few custom inquiries and whatnot. Nothing too crazy. But then I figured, this isn't moving as quick as I need to. And I just knew that it wasn't really for me. I was good at it. I could do it. But sitting there for hours, just working on one painting, it was like my hand would cramp. And it was just small things like, this longevity wise, this wouldn't be for me. And then I decided, actually, have you heard of Matterport?
No, I haven't actually.
So Matterport is a software that allows you to, if you have a 3D virtual 3D camera that can take 360-degree video and photo, you can actually hook it up to the software, and it lets you create a 3D model of a space. It could be a home, so real estate agents can use it. So it was like, I found out that there's a software and they're like, okay, there's a beta version that you can use on your phone. So everything quite literally for me started with just this. I downloaded the version. I started emailing a bunch of real estate agents and whoever who would really need this, and a bunch of restaurant owners who have like an aesthetic going on. I was like, they could take it and paste the link on their website so people can see what the inside of the restaurant looks like. But I really hit it home with the real estate agent. So I got my first deal. I was like, hey, let me come by. I'll make you a 3D tour using my software and just pay me $30. That's it. Right. So I drove out, I did it. The beta version did not work. It failed. The images were not matching up properly. So essentially you should be able to stand. It feels like you're standing in the room and you can move around the room. Kind of like a Google Street image, basically.
Like a virtual tour.
Exactly.
Tour from your desktop
so that failed. And then I was like, okay, what else can I do for real estate agents? Because I'm trying to get in contact with them and it seems like they're receiving my messages. So what else could I do? And I was like, I can make them videos. If it's not a 3D virtual tour, maybe it could be like a nice, pretty video that's visually appealing. So I did some networking. I found someone who's in our local community who's a real estate agent, and he gave me the first opportunity to go ahead and make a video for him. Mind you, he asked me like, what kind of gear do you have? This and that. And I was like, listen, give me $100. I'll make you an amazing video. I'm just starting to get gear, so don't judge me on that. Judge me on my video, right? So I went in with this phone. I put it on 60 frames per second. 4K. I bought a handheld gimbal for $150. So that was like my first real investment into this endeavor. And then, I walked in, I shot the place, I went home, I edited the same day, got the video to him the same day. He loved it. And that's really where it started for me. I was like, I think I can do this. I just made my first transaction and I know I can upcharge because I charged him way less because I didn't know what the true outcome would be of the video. And he actually liked it. So I was like, okay, I don't need to charge him $100. I could charge him $300. So then from there, it just went finding new agents, networking, promoting my services. And then from there, the pandemic really didn't die down. The real estate market was looking pretty low. There wasn't a lot of inventory alive. So the calls kind of stopped coming in. So I was like, okay, it's okay. Don't freak out. We started a business. My clientele are no longer calling me. What can we do next? And meanwhile, I already knew about TikTok, what was happening on there, but people weren't really making money off of it yet. It wasn't like, it was just a new app. There was a lot of upside potential, which is what I did see. So I actually made like 3, 4, maybe 5 TikToks of myself. Trying to be like one of those TikTok gurus giving tips on how to make like a quick short form video. And then after that, I was like, I see this becoming very saturated really soon. Like, I don't see why there won't be 50 other people in the next 2 days trying to act like they're a TikTok guru, trying to tell people how to make a video on this app when that was their first video on the app. It was literally what I was doing. So I was like, I don't see a lot of longevity in this either. But if it's somebody with a proper business motto in an established industry that's already there and existing, we would have a better potential of making short form videos that could actually attract viewers. And it's already a niche. It's not a niche that's being set up still, like how to become the best TikToker alive, when TikTok was only really popular for the last couple months. It's how to do your taxes the best, how to get rid of your IRS debt quickly. So we have topics that are already asked. They're already being Google searched. So the next thing for me was really finding a business and a business owner who is also a little creative like me, likes to innovate with their business, wants to try new things. And it was really finding the perfect client who was looking to get on social media, but didn't know how, didn't know what the best way was. And, they always have to be an outgoing individual who doesn't mind being on camera. And that's when I found my client, Badran. And of course, that was after going to a bunch of real estate offices, accounting offices, lawyers' offices. And eventually I found him. We spoke. I pitched him my idea. And mind you, he was barely ever on social media before this. So TikTok was an extremely new thing for him. Instagram was new. Facebook was like, okay, it was there. You know, you talk to your friends. I'm sorry. Do you hear that?
Oh, I can hear that, but it's totally fine. No, it's not. It just lets the people know that this guy is a busy guy. He's got notifications coming right and left.
Okay, cool.
So we're good. We're good to go.
Okay. So yeah. Then we really just picked it off from there. You know, he was the best client for me. We just like the same way me and you jump back and forth with ideas and conversation. It was really the same thing. We have a huge age difference, by the way. He, I believe, is over 65 years old. I am 23 years old, just turned 23 in October. So that actually really surprised me. I did not see that coming, that I would be able to, you know, work hand in hand with a business owner who is of his age, me being my age. You know, it's just so many things that could not work out. I'm coming from like a human resource standpoint. Like when you put very experienced individuals in an office space with new college graduates, there can be a lot of back and forth that may not work out, with personalities clashing and difference of opinions. You know, one section wanting to innovate and be, you know, try new things, and the other side not wanting to do new things and really just stay in the traditional mindset of how they operate. But we didn't have those issues at all, really. I mean, here and there, he might not want to try all the new things I bring to him, which is, of course, I want his opinion. You know, it's necessary. Like, I will bring him a bunch of new things we could try on social media, and he'll basically be like, no, I'm not feeling that, not feeling that. Okay, I'm down to try that. And yeah, we kind of just took it from there. The page did really well. We're at, I believe, 87,000 followers on TikTok right now. And those followers are slowly spreading out to all the other social media platforms we have up right now. But yeah, it's just been really successful after that. He's been getting a bunch of questions, a bunch of calls to his office, a lot of inquiries. When we first started, he wanted to take his business in a different direction other than just regular tax preparation and services like bookkeeping and whatnot. He wanted to get into tax resolution, which this was the best opportunity for him, because the upside of getting on TikTok and promoting your service in a way where you're providing just straight up value and not sounding like a salesman is really the best formula to get new clientele and get your name and your brand out there. So him starting this new service of tax resolution, which is where he actually goes and solves people's IRS debt and their issues with the IRS debt, with the IRS. It was really just the perfect cocktail for success, really. We set up a target audience for him. We figured he wanted to target middle-aged individuals, maybe after the age of 25, because before that, you're not really accumulating a lot of debt per se, other than maybe student loan debt. So yeah, we targeted our audience between middle-aged individuals and higher. All the songs that we pick are like songs from the 60s and just music that they would rather hear, you know, not really much of this new pop and hip hop music that we would see otherwise. And yeah, the way the language is scripted, the catchphrases we might use, they're all geared towards making the video sound and look appealing to that target demographic. So yeah, we got all that set up. And then from there, we've just been consistently meeting every week and creating a bunch of videos that are posted 7 days a week, 3 times every 7 days. And yeah, this has just been a train that's been moving ever since last March. Then, yeah, so when the volume of videos went up, that's when I realized, you know, I can't film, edit, and post 21 videos every single week. You know, I'm not going to have a day off. I'm going to burn myself out. So I figured it was time to expand a little bit. So I hired a social media manager who can do the posting aspect of the whole operation. I hired Video Husky. That's where we met Jonathan, to go ahead and take over the editing aspect of the operation. And then I did the filming and the scripting and the producing that goes on here. So yeah, that's basically how it went and where we are.
Man, yeah, that's a great story, man. There's so many things that I was trying to take mental notes on that I wanted to unpack with you. I mean, one of them is definitely no, it was great. I mean, I think it covers so much ground as far as, and these are things I think that are applicable. The points of emphasis from your story are applicable both to creators or business, even if you don't see yourself as a creator, if you're a business that's just trying to leverage video. I mean, in terms of finding audience, that seemed to be like a common theme or a common idea that was recurring in your story. There was just trying to find the right target audience, whether it's for yourself as a business owner or now for the client that you work with. So, and for you, I mean, how were you so savvy enough to um target these sectors that are actually, quite financially lucrative, right? Like you mentioned, you were targeting lawyers, you're targeting real estate agents, you're targeting accounting, tax preparation. These are businesses that obviously have to deal with money. I mean, was this something that you knew consciously, like, yeah, if I go and try and work with these kinds of businesses, then obviously paying the bills isn't going to be, as difficult for myself versus like targeting other industries that may have some struggles when it comes to actually paying you what you're worth.
Absolutely, absolutely. When I first started posting those houses for real estate agents, when I started making and posting those videos, um, so real estate agents typically work off of a commission. If they don't sell the house, they're not making a commission. So if they were to pay me to do a service for them, now they're dipping into their commission, right? And not a lot of people want to do that. So even then, they were a little
Hesitant.
sorry,
Hesitant.
hesitant to pay the price that I feel like I deserved. So
Yeah.
So I felt like, if I'm going to target real estate agents, it needs to be the higher end real estate agents who are really selling those like $1 million houses, because then we both receive the value that we want here. But you're absolutely right. I did target industries and demographics who would bring me some good money. I definitely had a lot of people who were hitting me up to do like music video shoots, and like small business promotional videos. But, in the industry that I'm in, it's a pretty lucrative industry and it's growing as it is. So for me to do the work for the amount of money they were asking it to be done, it was really not worth my time at that point. And when you're growing a business, it's hard. It's really difficult not to say no to people, or to say no to people, because, it's like, oh, if I blow this person off, how do I know that someone else is coming after that? There's no, like, my calendar is not filled up yet. So,
Right.
so it was definitely balance to be found. And as my prices increased, I slowly needed to find those new demographics to target. But that was all manually done. I did not do a lot of social media for my own brand company, and we still have not. That's something I really want to tackle in 2022. We're making all this content for all these other clients in different industries. I see no reason why we shouldn't be doing it on our own. But that, of course, I would need to personally be making the videos. So it's really like finding time where I can step away from working in my business instead of working on my business. But now that I finished college, I really feel like I have the time now to go ahead and do that, start looking for more clients and really expand.
That's cool, man. I mean, Jesus, I swear, talking to you, it sounds like I'm talking to like a seasoned business veteran who knows all of these things, not a 23-year-old recent college grad who's just, starting their life as an adult. It's really incredible and very, very admirable to hear somebody and to know somebody like you who is, you're on the right path, man. I'm telling you, I'm not saying that to flatter you. Anybody listening here, this is not to flatter Ray. It is true. This guy is definitely, seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders here. But I want to jump back into something that you just mentioned there, and you also talked about in your story a moment ago, was just about pricing, because and I think this can be related. We can relate this even to content creators as well when it comes to pricing the value of their content for brands and sponsorships and things like that. But you, in terms of pricing yourself for the clientele that you work with, you seem to not have any trouble like raising prices, where some people, I know I had that struggle in the past when I did freelancing, was, God, are they going to really pay that? That seems like a lot, for what I'm doing. And it actually seems to be, there's something deeper there at the source of that if you're struggling with that. But for you, it seems like that is just not something that phases you in terms of increasing your prices and knowing what you're worth.
I mean, it definitely does here and there, pricing in every price, when in the breakdown, you have to have very good reasoning for why you're putting that number there and what the value is in correlation to it. But no, when even transitioning from painting to the video production, I knew in that transition period, like it wasn't for sure I was going to go into video production, but I knew whatever industry I choose to go into, I need to make sure there's a good financial upside for me. This industry is going in the right direction where I wanted to, and that I could do this, till I feel like retiring. And that was video production, really, what's it called? A bunch of car companies, for example, let's take any GM company. They're paying easily $100,000 for one 15-second commercial to be created. That right there, me starting off and making someone $100 video and finding out that if I get my skills up a little bit, and if I just figure out how to make these connections and network and just find the right deals and make sure I'm in the right place at the right time to open my mouth, I could potentially land that deal. So really when I started, I had to figure out what's going to make me money and what am I good at that can make me that money. Like I don't have to really try as hard, because I feel like if you feel like you're trying hard, then it automatically feels like work. If I feel like I'm not trying and I'm just doing me, it doesn't feel like work. That side of the pressure is completely off then. Then it's just looking at, okay, if I make you a video, what is the potential upside for you? How are you going to benefit? Are you going to make $100,000 a year next year because I made you this video? Are you going to increase your sales by $1 million a year the next year because of this video or in the upcoming months? In that sense, if you're going to make $100,000 a year, it doesn't make any sense for me to charge you $500 for this video, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're asking us to take on the marketing aspect of it too after that, like people don't want you to just come in, make them a video, drop the video off to them and then back off, because they're like, oh, what do we do with this video? How do we optimize the video on social media? Where do we post it? How do we caption it? How do we make sure all of our audience members are going to see it? How do we make sure other people past our audience members are going to see it? So many questions that they have. And I figured if these questions need to be answered and people don't feel comfortable really taking on the entire process of scripting, editing, filming, editing, optimizing, posting, and then even running ads from there. That's a huge process that people don't know how to do, people aren't comfortable doing. So that's where I figured my service could come and play.
Yeah, for sure. Now, in terms of getting pushback from clients from time to time or from prospects, it sounds like you were able to handle those objections by like justifying, well, this is why I charge what I charge, because if I do this for you, this is what we're projecting in terms of potential revenue that you're going to get from doing this piece of content, especially with real estate agents, right? Like I imagine there's a lot of them kind of have this, like you said, they're a bit gun shy when it comes to using their spending money or investing in marketing, because they're so accustomed to just getting clients through word of mouth, and to actually dip into the commission to invest in advertising for themselves. They're worried like, well, is this actually going to pay off? But they don't always see that, you only need to get a few sales out of like one video. It's not like you're having to convert 1,000 new customers, like exactly. So, but it just really seems like you're able to handle those objections quite well, and you have that you have like a playbook already set up for
Right. It's in the back of my head. Don't get
me.
me wrong. I do get flustered during these conversations sometimes when like a random question that's unexpected comes up. But yeah, having these questions already answered in the back of my head really helps. And I have to give a big shout out to Chris Doe. I don't know if you've heard of him. I would definitely say check him
Chris
out.
Doe
He's
is
on
great.
YouTube.
He's phenomenal.
He really
The Future.
Yeah, The Future, man, he helped me, and I'm getting goosebumps right now because I really dedicate like at least 50% of my success in this business to that man. He really like honed in for me what value-based pricing is, and how to really talk to clients, how to carry yourself in a business conversation, everything. Even if you're not even in video production, you watch his videos, you will be way better at having business conversation just by listening to him and seeing how he articulates himself, and how he really maneuvers in a business conversation.
Yeah, for sure. He's great. I've seen his videos. He's done some great stuff on Shorts. I think it's amazing. One of the things that stood out to me about him, I think it was maybe it was a year ago or several months ago, I saw one of his shorts pop up on TikTok. And I really found it fascinating that, because you can't include links in TikTok videos, can you? Or has that changed?
You can.
Okay.
It might have to be from like a specific third-party application that you're pasting the link from. But you can paste links, yes.
Because what he did was so fascinating in terms of he basically repurposed a short form piece of content from a longer piece of content. But then his caption was like, to watch the full video, Google search this, or go on YouTube and search for this title, and that was just a way for him to funnel his TikTok audience over to his YouTube audience, which is just kind of like next level thinking there in terms of how to like build audience and to bring them to different platforms that you're on.
Exactly. With less work. He's not sitting down and refilming a whole video. He's just sending it to his editor and giving him instructions like, hey, clip this one, this 15-second bit, this 15-second bit, this 30-second bit, post it at this time, post this one first, second, third. And it's just the operation. The same way we did with Video Husky, really, where we took all those larger form videos. Well, it wasn't a lot that we did that because my client over here, we didn't really start doing long form videos on YouTube. But definitely if we were, then we 100% would have started breaking those down and started uploading them and repurposing them to different platforms.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk a bit about your experience with working with us at Video Husky. And just for disclaimer purposes as well, here at Video Husky, we don't normally work with people who, agencies or videographers who are serving their own clients, just because we found it to be difficult in terms of the communication when it comes to us delivering a video to you, the videographer, who then needs to get approval from the client and then needs to come back to us with more approvals. And it's just not necessary. It hasn't worked out for us, which is why we decided to put that policy in place. But we have made exceptions. And one of these exceptions is when we've worked with people like yourself, an independent videographer who has the final say and final approval on the content. Like with your client, Badran, like they're trusting you to make that judgment call with the final look of the video. So again, just as a disclaimer to anybody out there, if you are an agency or a videographer, you're wondering, why doesn't Video Husky want to work with us? It's because if you don't have final say on your content, on your client's content, you're better off finding a different solution. And if you want advice or recommendations, like we'd be happy to pass you along to someone who has that infrastructure in place. But at this current moment, we don't do that. So let's go into, again, the content creation process for you and what that looked like in terms of from like scripting the idea to filming it with your client to then passing it along to Video Husky and getting the content produced?
Yeah. So, would you like me to walk you through like a typical day, like how it was when we were? Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Sure. So typically, I wake up in the morning. Before I come over to my client's workplace, I would do some market research myself on what's going on in their industry. So specifically, if we're talking about my tax and accounting client, Badran, it would be me looking at tax news. Are there any updates from the IRS? Is any governor doing something new in whichever state? Is anything changing on a federal aspect of taxes? Is the IRS sending out any new updates on how they're changing their operations? And there's always some sort of update when it comes to this industry. We also try to do some entertaining TikToks as well, entertainment based TikToks. So that could be any trends that I would be able to direct in a way that would be visually appealing and acceptable to our client audience. So it could be anything from like voiceovers from a movie about someone joking about, I'm going to write off my house, I'm going to write off my car, I'm going to write off my TV and this and that. And then we kind of like act it out in a way where it's comedic and funny. And it's just, it's good for the audience to really get a good idea of what we do, our perspective on the entire industry. That's basically where the research aspect of it starts. And then we get a whole list of ideas and potential video topics that we could do. I come over here, I sit down with Badran, we figure out which ones we might want to shoot, which ones we don't want to shoot. And then we might even sit down and brainstorm some other ideas right there, because he will also bring his own list of ideas that he might want to touch on. And then, it's just like a cancellation of which ones we don't want to do, which ones we do want to do. And then we will script them first off. And not all clients really require scripting. I have worked with some in like the real estate investing aspect of the real estate industry who really know all that information off the top of their head, and they're really confident in the way they speak. Like they're like, if anything, I'd like, no, get away from me. I don't want to script it. Just let me say what I want to say. So there's those type of people. And then there's also people who really want to make sure that they're saying the exact right words, whether it's like for legal reasons, because, when you're working with tax law and whatnot, you really have to be careful with what you say. So specific to his industry, we definitely script every single video. We make sure that we're not saying anything factually incorrect or along those lines. And then, line by line, we script it. We try to make it as creative as possible because not everyone likes to just sit and watch tax and accounting videos. It's not the thing that really comes in your head like, oh, I'm going on TikTok to watch a video about tax and accounting. That never really happens. So when our video pops up on your screen, I want to make sure that something catches your eye in the video. Within the first sentence, the hook, or something going on in the background, or something happening with the person who's right in front of the screen, with AKA Badran. And then from there, we make sure we have a hook. We give the information in the middle, and then we conclude the video at the end. I typically try to keep it between 15 to 30 seconds. Definitely 15 is the sweet spot because we want to keep the videos as short as possible, especially since it's tax and accounting. If I'm going to give you value about this industry, it's going to be quick. You're going to like it. And then if you like it, you're going to want to find out more, which is then when we would relay them over to, go check out our YouTube channel if you want longer form video content about the specific topic. Backing up from there, after I get all the footage I need, I quite literally just went on my laptop. I uploaded the videos to Video Husky. I typed up the exact script that we created, because, there's multiple takes that happen. The line doesn't come out right. So I didn't really need to sort through those as much because I was providing the editor, who was I was my editor for Video Husky. That really took some time off. No, it granted me more time actually uploading the script, because I wouldn't need to take out the bad cuts, the parts of the video that were not good. She could quite literally just watch the video, find where he said the line properly, and then use that clip from there. Music was always uncopyrighted music. And then as far as the collaboration between us, it was quite smooth. I remember you guys at Video Husky were a little, you weren't sure how this was going to work out because you didn't work with someone who demanded like this high volume of short form video content. And since it's
Right.
like a ever moving train, like it doesn't stop till it stops, and we did not stop. We went solid, what, like 3 months, I would say.
I think it was, yeah, you did 3 months with us. You did I think you paid for the quarter up front, and then we were able to kind of sort things out on our end and figure out a process that worked within our system and process.
Right. And
That's-
I also didn't
yeah.
feel like I had to make too many crazy adjustments to really work with you guys. Honestly, I understood your perspective as far as not want to working with agencies and people who have their own clients, which is why I wanted to make it as easy as possible for you guys to work with me. So I kind of like back engineered the logic because I really needed your guys' help. It was really the case. And then, just like if I didn't like anything here or there, I would just send a quick message like, hey, can you change this clip? Can you change the lighting, the song, the text, whatever it was. And it was really very simple to get done. And we were pumping out 21 videos per week consistently, with great communication and not really any mess ups or anything like that. So yeah, it was great. It was a wonderful operation that was put together, really.
That's good. That's good to know. Yeah, because we get quite a few people, obviously, these days who want to do TikTok or YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels, and figuring out a system to do that consistently and regularly, and then how does that integrate with Video Husky is always it's always a challenge, I think, for prospects who are coming into our website and thinking about hiring us to work on their content, because they may not necessarily have that whole system fleshed out for themselves on their ends. And you clearly had that all organized and structured from your side, and then obviously handing it off to us to let us do our thing with our system and processes on our side. So I think it worked out well. And then as far as there are a couple of things I wanted to circle back on in regards to what you were saying, and that was just the collaboration between you and your client. How long did that take for you to come to an agreement on what you were going to produce and what you weren't going to produce, as far as all the ideas you both were bringing to the table?
So that's something that is still ongoing every single day. Every single time we meet up, well, not every single day, we shoot 3 times a week, which is why I like to work with local clients, so that, distance wise, travel from me to them is great. Communication is good. We can do this consistently. I'm sorry, what was your original question?
No, I was just asking you about how long it takes for you to come to an agreement on what you are creating, because you have a meeting, and I'm sure you guys are throwing out ideas, and then does it take you 20 minutes, 30 minutes? Is there, like, what I'm trying to understand is there like an intense back and forth or dialogue between, like, what you ultimately end up making?
Yes, for sure. It's like almost like we have a debate before every single shoot. It can be an hour long, it could be an hour and a half long, it could be just 20 minutes. We bounce off back and forth like, oh, love that idea, you brought that one, okay, let's do those 3, let's do my 2, okay, boom, let's go straight to shooting and scripting. So that debate actually happens before any of the scripting or anything happens. So like we're literally just bouncing off ideas and trying to cancel out which ones we don't want to do and which ones we do want to do. So yeah, I think the maximum amount of time that might have taken was maybe 2 hours, but that was when we were really trying to hone in what type of videos we should make for the brand, for the betterment of the brand. Not just which videos we make will pull the most amount of cash flow into the business. We were trying to work more on the brand aspect of it and really find something consistent where our followers know, okay, if I return back to that page, I know what I'm going to see. I know what I'm going to find out. We wanted to provide them with some sort of consistency with the brand. Those are really the only times where our meetings trickled over 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. because those like really
Right.
take in-depth conversation, like, where are you really trying to take this? And I have to understand where the business owner wants to go with everything that we're doing. So it's really calculated. It's really strategic the way we make our decisions. But yeah, no, that part of the process is very crucial to the entire operation, because at the start you could choose bad video topic idea, then we go and script it, then we film it, then the video editor edits it, then the social media manager posts it, then we optimize it. But you started off while choosing a bad topic in the beginning, so you're not going to get a lot of views on that video. So
Yeah.
it's very crucial to the operation for sure.
Yeah, no, it's important to kind of get that foundational aspect sorted out first before you do everything else, because if it's not right, then you could end up with the wrong person watching your videos, not the right audience, and then you're not necessarily getting the leads and prospects that you would like to see. In terms of filming the footage, we had talked about this when you came on as a client, but why don't you walk us through how you ended up filming the shorts themselves for us to go and edit? Well, did you not end up filming several shorts on one take in one movie file, rather than like passing along, rather than like, hey, I filmed for 30 seconds, that's one file. I filmed for another 30 seconds, that's another file. It was all filmed on one singular piece of footage, and then you provided us with the timestamps of which pieces you wanted us to extract.
Exactly. So going back to like how I wanted to make it as easy for the editor to adjust to, what I wanted and whatnot. I figured in the beginning, if, I stopped the recording button after every single take, it'd be easier for me to go back in and find which clip exactly I want her to use. But that, of course, took a lot of time from my end. So we figured between each other, me and the editor, if I were to just shoot, leave the camera running until we get every single line for the video, which it could be about a 15-minute video at the end of that, which you're going to cut down to about 15 seconds after you find the clips. Yeah, I was able to provide the script for her, so she was able to just review the whole video length of the whole video, and or just look through my timestamps that I gave her, and then she would just pull the clip right out and then just put the video together.
Yeah, very simple. Yeah, it's one of those things where it makes more sense to just have the camera just roll all throughout, rather than having to separate them into their own individual clips. And I think that worked out really well for us on our side.
Sorry, there's also like the possibility where I might even drag and put the wrong clip in that folder that she would need to go edit. So it was just like all together,
Exactly.
much easier, much more efficient. And productivity wise, it was a lot easier to go down that route.
Okay. Yeah, no, for sure. And, one other topic here that I want to circle back on is just the scripting of the videos. Now, tell me about what that looked like. Is there a lot of rewrites involved, a lot of editing in terms of scripting the content out? Because as you mentioned, these are shorter clips. You're aiming for like around 15 seconds. So I imagine you don't want something super wordy, but at the same time, probably once you're starting, you're kind of just having to like word vomit everything onto a page initially before it gets narrowed down to the core message that you want to end up filming.
Right. So the main thing that I noticed with working with professionals in their own industry, they've learned to use bigger terms and make the conversation sound more complicated than it needs to be, which is not what works on TikTok. People want to be spoken to in layman's terms, like you're just sitting down and having a regular conversation with the person on the other end of the phone. So if you're bringing in these larger terminology and just making everything seem a lot more complicated to the everyday person than it needs to be, then you're not going to perform as well. But with my clients, they're more inclined to want to do that. So when they like pull out like a sentence that has, for example, I don't know, 12 words in it, I'll be like, hey, how can we minimize that to like 7.
Mm.
And that would be the scene, that would be the cut. So yeah, that's definitely something that we debate on during the scripting process as well. There's really a lot of debate. They do give me a lot of creative freedom, which I do like, which is why it worked out with Video Husky. So if I make suggestions, like, everyone's fine with it. But of course, I need to respect their opinion when it comes to their own industry, because I'm not an accountant. I could
Yes,
say, like, hey,
exactly.
let's say that the IRS is mean, for example, but they'll be like, no, we can't say the IRS is mean. They're just doing their job. And we worked hand in hand to solve people's issues. So we can't have our audience look at the IRS from a negative perspective like that. So things like that, I needed to change within my own mindset and then adapt to how they want to have their brand looked at on the outside, as far as their
for
dealings
sure.
with
No,
the
that's-
IRS and how they operate.
Yeah. No, I imagine that can be a difficult part, especially if, when you're working with real estate agents. I mean, there's certain things that you cannot say legally as far as, you can't suggest like, this is, I don't know, like this is the best neighborhood, or this, certain things legally that you can't say. I can't even think of them off the top of my head because I am not a real estate agent, but we do work with real estate agents here at Video Husky, and they have to deal with a lot of those legalities, which often leads to a lot of that superfluous and big language that's being used when they're trying to explain things. But yeah, no, Ray, this has been great. As we start to close out here on this conversation, I just want to ask you about where you're trying to take things next. Where are you trying to go? You've teased it a little bit. Of course, you want to start sharing more of your knowledge out there as like a branding tool for your own business. But I mean, I guess where are things headed for you? Where would you like to be, like, the next time possibly we have this conversation, maybe in like a year or so?
Absolutely. I would love to do this podcast again.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have a lot of options right now. And I'm blessed to say that, I feel like I could create quite a big movement here, and I could expand business pretty aggressively. But due to my age and my experience, I feel like it would be better for me to reinvest into myself for a little bit. Because I don't want to start expanding and then something unforeseen that I was just too naive to look at happens, and business crumbles from there. There's always that risk. So I do move very strategically. However, I don't see why I cannot just expand, find new clients who want to jump on TikTok, teach people who want to be content creators to come head over to the place of business, create the video, and then simply hire Video Husky to edit the video, hire a social media manager to go ahead and post the video and optimize the video. And then you have another moving operation right there, which I really don't need to be too involved in, other than creating the deal and making sure that all the employees are within the creative limits and boundaries that we need them to operate in. So I don't see why I can't do that. The sky's really the limit. However, I did learn, even throughout these previous endeavors with my business, Ray Motion Films, that if I continue to expand, I slowly, as the business owner, start getting pushed away from the things that I actually like doing, which is some of the filming, which is some of the editing, which is some of the scripting, and being able to really show my creativity on spot, like in the field. But if I expand too quickly, then I might be forced to look more into, the management of the whole operation, dealing with client issues. And, when you expand, you just get pushed upwards and away from the stuff that you originally started the business to be doing. Like, you're no longer doing that anymore. You have people hired to go do that for you. So I think as I'm young right now, I think I want to still be involved with all those parts of the operation. I'm not really in too much of a hurry, therefore, to really expand. However, I have a lot more time on my plate now that school's over. So I think I might get into a little bit more filmmaking. So that could be like music videos, car shoots, short stories, more like business promotions, really aspects of the business where I can still be creative and, have fun doing what I love to do. I don't want to take the fun out of this just because I want to expand and make a bunch of money. That's definitely not,
Yeah.
especially now at this point in my life, I don't want to do that. I'm
Yeah.
not, um, high up in age where, I have so much responsibility on my back, like children and whatnot, where I would really have to stress more about finances and whatnot. I feel like a free bird right now still. So I want to continue feeling
Yeah.
that way. So I mean, I know you feel like I've teased it for you. I've been teasing it for myself too. This is like a constant debate that goes back and forth in my head. Like, where should I take this in 2022? So I don't have a proper answer for you yet. I'm still figuring it out as well, just like every other entrepreneur out here. But definitely,
Right.
when I figure it out and I start making moves, you'll be the first person that I let know.
Well, that's good to hear. I mean, like I said, regardless, I look forward to seeing what you do next.
Creating content for my
You
own
know,
business is definitely on the high priority side of my list, because
yes.
once I start creating my own content, business is just inevitably going to come in, especially because I'm going to make videos that I like watching, which means there's a demographic of people who like the same videos I
Yeah.
like, and that's the audience you want to attract at first.
Yeah, it ends up being this virtuous cycle where if you're making content that you like or that is interesting to you about topics that are interesting to you, you attract people who are also interested in those topics who
Right,
are
right.
probably
And
more
you're
likely
not
to
trying to
vibe with
be
you.
someone you're not. You're not trying to make videos for someone else who you're not, or who you typically wouldn't even have a A/B conversation with. That's not the people you want to
Exactly.
attract. You want to attract like-minded individuals. So, I mean, you stay true to yourself, create the content you want to create content that you like, you personally like you would watch if it popped up on your phone screen. And then, yeah, clientele is just inevitably going to come. I feel like that's where the industry is at right now. This is definitely the time to capitalize. And, if you don't want to do a 9 to 5, jump into video production, social media. The industry's there. You get to work from home. It's not, crazy challenging like being a lawyer, a doctor, or an accountant. Um, you could definitely get paid well for sure. And yeah, man, I hope to see a lot more creatives join the industry, especially in the upcoming generations. I'm pretty excited, actually. I think a lot of kids will naturally be good at this, and the job market, I feel like, would explode with the
Yeah.
need of videographers, video editors. So it's really exciting to see where the industry is going to take us. I actually wanted to ask you, where do you see the industry going in the next 10, 15 years, now that you've seen like the jump, especially working for Video Husky, where you see people moving from those long form videos to now short form videos, and everyone's trying to get everyone's attention in such a short amount of time.
Hmm.
Where do you see it moving next, in correlation with like Web 3.0, the metaverse, NFTs, and cryptocurrency and
Yeah.
marketing? Like, where do you see it going?
I think it becomes much easier to make it a career, obviously, as a creator, as we progress the next decade or so. Like, you bring up the ideas of NFTs, which is something that I understand, like the tip of the iceberg, but I'm not like somebody who has any kind of NFT investments or anything like that, or would be able to offer any kind of sound NFT advice. But I like the idea of being able to issue something that is limited in supply and have control over that. Because it really does make this whole idea of, I don't know if you've ever read the article or essay by Kevin Kelly called "1,000 True Fans," but it's an incredible article. We'll link to it in the show notes. It's been referenced many times before on this podcast with other creators, but just the idea that you only need 1,000 people to support you as a creator. I mean, imagine if you had 1,000 people paying you $10 a month on Patreon for a subscription, or to a newsletter on Substack, or to a YouTube membership subscription. That's $10,000 a month. That's more money than most people in certain professional fields make. So it is becoming more commonplace. And I think you're part of the first generation of people like the Mr. Beasts of the world who grew up watching the Casey Neistats, the PewDiePies, even going back to some of my Asian brethren like Ryan Higa and Kev Jumba and whatnot. Those guys, they showed you what was possible, and now we're seeing people really be able to take that. And there's just infrastructure in place, but they're really able to take what the foundation that they set initially and make it a career for themselves. But again, as I alluded to there a moment ago, there's just more infrastructure in place for creators to go out and do their thing, which is really exciting. And I think going forward that there's going to be more people who are building stuff online, and there's going to be a need for people to create businesses and services that serve those people, which is why Video Husky exists. So anyways, Ray, this is awesome to have you on. We're definitely going to have to do a part 2 at some point. So just as we wrap up here, tell everybody where they can find you. If they want to work with you, where can they contact you?
So right now we are mainly on Instagram. We are moving over to TikTok as soon as I start making some content. So the ads for that are Ray Motion Films. No caps, no underscores. You can send me a DM. Should I put my phone number here? Is that a good idea?
Yeah, you could do that.
Okay, you can text me.
Fine.
You can call me at 347-863-9656. Just call me. Let me know what your idea is. Let me know what you want to pursue, where you want to take your business, what you want to do with content, what you might have already been up to in the social media realm, and we will optimize videos and take it from there for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ray, again, for joining me on this episode of the Videocraft Show presented by Video Husky.
Thank you, Jonathan. It's been a pleasure, man.
Thanks again to Ray for joining me on this episode of the Videocraft Show presented by Video Husky. Want to remind all of you, if you haven't already, to subscribe to the show wherever it is you get your podcasts. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, CastBox, Pocket Casts. We are everywhere. You can do so. It helps us out. If you would also like to stay up to date with episodes, you can also subscribe to our email list. And we're giving a freebie to those of you who do decide to subscribe to our email list. A free script template. Using this can help you structure your ideas and help you organize your ideas in your content creation process. So all you have to do is go to videocraftshow.com and then click the button for the free scripting template. Fill out your name and your email, and then we will deliver that straight to your inbox right after you sign up. As always, I've got to thank my team for helping me to produce this episode, Nikki Vicente, as well as Ingrid Saraiba for all the work that they do on the Videocraft Show presented by Video Husky, as well as Paolo Lopez on graphics. And a reminder to all of you, if you are looking for video editing, we talked about it on this episode. We talked at length in terms of how Ray was able to utilize Video Husky to his advantage. If that sounded like something that you could do and you're looking to make short form content, then visit www.videohusky.com to learn more. Click on the Who It's For page, and that should give you more information on what we do as a company and help you determine whether or not we would be the right fit for you. So go ahead and do that. Visit videohusky.com to learn more about what we do. That is it for this episode of the Videocraft Show presented by Video Husky. I will see you again in another 2 weeks. Until then, take care, and I'll be seeing you. This is Jon Santiago of the Videocraft Show presented by Video Husky, signing out.